September 18th, 1944. General Hassan Montefiore stood inside his command post near the German border, carefully studying a map. For the first time in months, that map offered something he almost no longer believed in: victory. Montefiore was 51 years old, and not driven by ideology. He was practical, calm, and experienced. He had fought in Russia and North Africa and had seen entire armies fall apart. He knew Germany was bleeding on two fronts. But that morning, he believed the odds favored him. Under Montefiore's command was the 113th Panzer Brigade. This was not a broken unit pulled together from survivors. This was Hitler's new fire brigade, fresh troops sent straight from factories. The tanks were so new that some crews were still learning how to operate them. The brigade had 58 brand-new Panther tanks, the most dangerous tanks on the Western Front. Montefiore trusted numbers, steel, and experience, and all three were on his side. Montefiore compared tanks with cold logic. The American Sherman was reliable but average. It had a basic 75 mm gun and thinner armor. A Panther could destroy a Sherman from over 2,000 meters away. American shells often bounced off the Panther's sloped armor without effect. The Panther's gun could kill from distances where the Sherman could barely respond. On paper, it was not a fair fight. The Panthers were built to dominate. Fuel was the final calculation. The brigade had been given 600,000 liters of fuel, enough for 2 full days of hard combat. Montefiore believed 2 days was all he needed. His plan was simple and bold. He would strike the exposed right flank of General George Patton's Third Army. Patton was stretched thin, with supply lines running 400 kilometers and tanks spread across a wide front. Montefiore aimed to exploit that weakness. The plan was to concentrate all 58 Panthers and smash directly into the American 4th Armored Division. By cutting off Patton's leading forces, Montefiore hoped to destroy them piece by piece. The chaos would force the Americans to stop their advance. According to traditional military thinking, the plan made perfect sense. The Germans had better tanks, concentrated forces, and total surprise. The Americans didn't even know the brigade was there. But Montefiore was thinking like it was still 1940. He believed tank battles were decided by armor thickness and gun size. He didn't realize he was walking into a trap built from things the German military mindset could not understand. Speed, coordination, and logistics were about to matter more than steel. The battlefield had changed, and Montefiore didn't know it yet. At 7:30 a.m. on September 19th, the 113th Panzer Brigade began moving forward. A thick fog rolled across the fields of Lorraine, heavy and slow, like a living thing. Visibility dropped to less than 50 yards. Tank commanders struggled to see through periscopes. Drivers could barely follow the tank ahead. The Panther's greatest strength, long-range firepower, disappeared instantly. You cannot shoot what you cannot see. Inside the American headquarters 15 kilometers away, Colonel Bruce Clark received alarming reports. Observers heard heavy engines and large formations moving west. Clark didn't have heavy tanks, but he did have the 37th Tank Battalion, led by Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams. Abrams understood immediately what the fog meant. The Panthers could no longer fight at range. This would be close combat, fast and brutal. Reaction time would decide everything. The German column advanced confidently through the fog, engines roaring, commanders leaning out of their hatches. They expected to crush light American defenses. Instead, the lead Panther exploded in flames. Then another. Then another. Panic spread. Radios filled with confused voices. Tank turrets swung wildly, but no enemy could be seen. Shots came from the sides, punching through thinner armor. The Panthers were being hunted by something they couldn't see. German commanders believed they had run into a wall of American heavy tanks. The truth was far worse. They had not hit a wall. They had entered a swarm. What attacked them was not heavy armor, but fast, lightly armored vehicles moving with deadly coordination. This was the moment when German assumptions collapsed, and a new kind of warfare revealed itself in the fog of Lorraine. The vehicle hunting the Panthers was the M18 Hellcat tank destroyer. To German crews, it looked like a bad joke. It had almost no armor, an open top, and thin metal that even machine gun fire could penetrate. By German standards, which valued protection above everything else, the Hellcat looked like a death trap. But Montefiore had missed the one factor that truly mattered: speed. The Hellcat weighed only 17 tons and was powered by a powerful aircraft-style engine producing 350 horsepower. It could reach speeds of 55 miles per hour, faster than any tank on the battlefield. No Panther, no Tiger, not even the Soviet T-34 could match it. In the thick fog around Arracourt, speed became the most dangerous weapon of all. The Hellcat could move, strike, and disappear before the enemy could react. The German Panthers advanced in rigid formations designed to support each other's flanks. That system required clear visibility and constant communication. The fog destroyed both. The Hellcats fought differently. They hunted like wolves, operating in small groups, spread out, and guided by radio instead of sight. Each crew acted independently but stayed connected, turning chaos into coordination. This style of combat was completely foreign to German doctrine. Again and again, the same scene played out. A Hellcat platoon would hear Panthers approaching through the fog. The commander marked positions on his map and ordered his driver to race to a hidden flank near a barn or hedgerow. Engines screamed, then went quiet. Crews waited patiently. When the Panthers rolled past, exposing their sides, the Hellcats opened fire with 3 rapid 76mm rounds. The Panther would try to turn its turret, but it was already too late. The Hellcat reversed at full speed, retreating hundreds of yards in seconds. Guided by shouted directions, it relocated to a new position before the Germans could respond. By the time the Panthers reacted, their attackers were gone. It wasn't a fair fight. It was hit-and-run warfare, repeated dozens of times in one morning. By midday, the fog began to lift. Montefiore, frustrated by stalled progress, ordered his commanders to push forward. He believed the Americans couldn't be everywhere. But as visibility improved, the second part of the American trap closed. German infantry riding on the tanks had been protecting them. Suddenly, the sky itself turned hostile. The Americans unleashed a weapon the Germans barely understood: precision artillery. American artillery used a system called time on target. Instead of firing in waves, multiple batteries fired at different times so all shells landed at the exact same moment. There was no warning, no adjustment shots. When the shells arrived, dozens exploded simultaneously above German infantry. Shrapnel rained down like blades. Entire units were shattered in seconds. The Panthers survived, but their support did not. The artillery destroyed radios, antennas, and communication lines. Tank commanders were forced to close their hatches, leaving them blind. Without infantry protection, the Panthers were helpless. Bazooka teams moved in, Hellcats flanked freely. The brigade wasn't fighting a battle anymore. It was being dismantled piece by piece. Speed, coordination, and supply overwhelmed armor and firepower. Fuel shortages sealed the disaster. Supporting units never arrived because they ran out of fuel before reaching the battlefield. Germany built advanced tanks, but couldn't fuel them. When American tanks lacked fuel, they waited. When fuel arrived, they moved again. When German tanks ran out, they were abandoned and destroyed by their own crews. Logistics, not bravery, decided the outcome. By the end of the week, only 8 Panthers remained operational out of the original 58. American losses were replaced within days. Patton didn't win with better tanks. He won with factories, trucks, radios, spare parts, and coordination. Arracourt proved that modern war was not about heroic machines. It was about systems. And in the fog of Lorraine, the system won. Thanks for watching Echoes of World War II. Battlefield. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe for more forgotten World War II battles. Tell us in the comments, would you rather command a Panther with no fuel or a Hellcat with no armor? Your support helps keep these stories alive. We'll see you in the next one.